Alright, welcome to CATtheMinion YouTube channel. My name is Theresa, but you can call me Cat. Hopefully you can hear me alright over the air conditioning. Now, this is going to be the first part of this video. What I've got here is a Malibu Barbie. She came like this with her hair chopped off. She's got this kind of hair fair chop here, right? So Malibu Barbie has the Stacey head mold. She's got super tan, well, according to the Times, she's got super tan skin. Right? She has a head that turns but does not swivel. And she has the twist and turn body, which is different than the Superstar body from 1976, because these dolls still have the angled waist, so when she turns, she's sort of like go-go swinging it instead of just a straight turn of the waist. Now, you can't really see it on her butt here, but this Malibu Barbie is made in Japan, which means very distinctly that she was made in 1971 or 1972. Later editions were made in Korea and elsewhere, and or had different head molds. Now, the case that I bought her in, that she came in, because I bought the case and happened to have her and a Francie in it, it also had these gold pumps in it, and I enjoyed them, and I feel like they're very similar to her skin tone. And it also had this dress in it that is a similar shade and reminds me of her turquoise swimsuit. It's just got like a waist going on it because of how I've had her tied into the case. So it's just sort of this kind of A-frame dress with blue lace on this ice blue. It needs to have this bottom snap redone. It's like lined. I believe this is handmade, but I thoroughly enjoy it, and it works with this mod theme that I've got, and I'm actually just going to keep her in this once I finish her, because this doll is getting rerooted and customized and repainted. Now what I'm going to do, she's a little dingy. I'm going to take the shoes off and clean them too. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and clean it. We're going to take the doll and clean her. We're going to sew this back together all the way, make sure those snaps are where they're supposed to be, so it's not swinging open here in the middle. I'm going to fix this lace coming down the back. That's come off. So what I do when I clean them is I get a supply of laundry detergent that I've stuffed into this plastic thing here. And I get the toothbrush, and I just go in there with the laundry detergent, and we'll clean this and hang it up to dry, and we'll clean her and hang her up to dry. And what I'm going to do is yank all this old hair out that I'm getting rid of, and I'm going to go in then with the acetone and the Q-tip and get all this old paint off of her face. Now what I'm not going to actually show those steps on the camera because I have to do them in the bathroom. The acetone will eat through vinyl. It will leave white scratch marks in the solid plastic, so when I go to remove the face paint, I'm going to get a Q-tip, I'm going to get a little bottle cap, I'm going to pour some of the acetone in there, just dunk the end of the Q-tip in there and wipe it until it's all cleared off. I might keep her eyebrows. Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't keep her eyebrows. I don't remember what Stacey's eyebrows look like. So I'm going to paint her to look like more like a Stacey instead of Malibu Barbie. And then I'm going to reroot her with a different color hair. And you'll be seeing that after I get her cleaned up. So I probably will zoom in a little bit and make a clip of pulling the hair out just so you can see what it entails, and then we'll get in there with the other stuff. So scrubbing with the toothbrush and the laundry detergent seems to work better than any other cleaning agents I've found, and then once that's in, we'll make the next segment here. And again, I'm not going to show removing the face paint with the acetone, because you need to do it nearby to a water source, because you're going to want to rinse it off right away so that it doesn't eat through the vinyl. You can use nail polish remover if you've got it, but I don't use nail polish remover, so I just have the acetone by itself. But again, you want to wash it off right away because it'll eat through the vinyl if you just leave it there forever and ever. Alright, so we're starting on this Malibu Barbie, and we will come back to get into the next phase here after the washing and the sewing and the face removing. I want to take her face off. Be back soon. Alright, so I'm back. I have cleaned the things. The doll has been scrubbed and washed. And now I've got the shoes and this dress here drying on this collector rack that I got somehow. Just for funsies, I brought out this Francie hanger. I got a bunch of these that antique hangers that came in some of the cases. There's all kinds of little tidbits underneath the guts that I yanked out of there. So the next step that I've got, now that I've got her washed off, I'm going to drop the camera down to my workstation here. This is a piece of cardboard with plastic over it. The old one that I had for rerouting, I think I got rid of finally. I don't even know if that's in focus. That's so stupid. Okay. Let's put something on there so I can tell if I'm focused or not. Okay. Alright. So now that I've got her clean, let me get not have sweat on my hands. So I'm going to get her head off of here, which can be extremely difficult on some of the newer dolls, not so much on this one. Stick the body back on the stand over here to dry more. Okay. It's still, her head's still pretty soggy. Let me put this paper towel down. I don't want to get her real dirty. But the general idea is that I might usually cut the hair off and yank it out of her head before I clean her. I might have to wash her head again, especially after I have my sweaty hands on it for a couple of days. Now, in order to take the old hair off, I have hair scissors. Snip, snip. And I'm just going to go ahead and chop off the rest of this. There are different ways to reroot once you get rid of the old hair. And I only do it one way. It's painstaking, it hurts my hands, it's a pain in the ass. It can take from like 6 hours to a week, depending on how long my hands can take it. I have some repeat motion injury from when I was working at a store, and just also years of abuse and wear and tear. So I got a nice, it's actually a nice color. I had I guess it would have been the 30th anniversary, although I think it came out in 2002 instead of 2001, but I had that reproduction Malibu Barbie, and I wasn't feeling her, and her face screening was like off print, so it was like up higher than where she was in the mold, and it was just kind of annoying, so I got rid of her. Slippery from this laundry detergent. I'm gonna get that cut off in there. I had an older janky pair of tweezers that I used to scrape out the insides of the head, and I must have gotten rid of them when I got rid of a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna dump this in the trash. in the trash. Still a whole bunch of it on here, but whatever. I got these ones. These ones kind of suck. They're not really like together all the way anyway. So I go in there and I can scrape the end through where the holes are, and it pulls it out from the inside. To do it it's a little more difficult across the crown there, but it's coming out. So really only as good as your tweezers are to get that shit out of there. Some people release this. Is that even visible? What I'm doing here to make it really obvious as to what I'm doing with these tweezers here. I don't have them open, I have them closed right now. Make sure it's focused better. Let me zoom in. Okay, there we go. Maybe now we can see what I'm doing. Yeah, there we go. Thank God this vinyl has a lot of give to it. The two... Ooh, shit. Just gave her a really bad headache. Alright. I was gonna say those two skippers that I did were in a lot worse order than this. Although I only really I can't believe I stabbed that through her head. Very sorry indeed. Be careful over here so I don't stab her in the face again. At least it didn't come out through the front of her head. That would have been embarrassing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to squish her head up and see if I can pull some of this out. Put these pliers in here. There. I was just squishing the head up in there like that to pull out some of the interior hair here. Ooh, that's working pretty good. Let's see if I can get the crown of her head pushed up in there to pull that out. Yeah, there we go. Look at that shit. All crusty. Big old hole there in the top because they're so close together. Let's see if I can get it with the pliers here. It's gonna have to come out the other way. Now unfortunately, like, because that's so fully rooted, there's not a lot I can do about how thick that break is. It can get pretty violent. So I'm gonna finish this off camera, and then I am gonna take the paint off her face, and then we'll reconvene in a little bit. Hopefully some of that was actually visible and not just a blurry image of my hand. Alright, now I've pulled the rest of the hair out of her head, and it's glaringly apparent here. Maybe I'll stay at this zoomed in level here. Her head is like not even round, it's this weird conical shape. Conehead syndrome here. There, now maybe at that angle you can see it. It's so weird. So I've got the stuff off with... Maybe I'll try it this way so I can see what the frick I'm doing. There we go. It's like really frustrating to try to move this around while doing arts and crafts and worrying about what the frick I'm doing. Okay. zoom out a little bit. Here we go. Okay, so now I can see what the hell I'm talking about. This is like more error than trial here with this video here. Where the hell? I was trying to get this focused. Alright, so she's got a cone head. I've got this all cleared off with the acetone. My fingernails are peeling. So this is the Stacey head mold, the Malibu Barbie. You can see there's some faint stuff left from her, the color they put under her hair. This seam here is, you can see the front where I was more careful with it. It's not all the way ripped. It's ripped here. But I've had other dolls where there's big holes where the, there we go. There's big holes where the hairline, where the center part is, or the off-center part. So it's totally blown open over here. But up here, it's probably going to break apart when I put the needle through there to reroot it. In that case, what I do is I take small sections of hair through there and just make sure that the knot that's inside her head is enough to make a cluster that's bigger than the hole. And it should be alright, because this doll isn't going to get played with on a regular. She's going to be in a case and on display. I can't get over this cone head situation. This is gnarly. It was like when they rooted her head, it pulled so tight and so hard, it melted the vinyl and stretched it out. It's freaking me out a little bit. I've never seen that before. So what I've done is I've scabbed a couple of reference pictures offline and printed them out. So this is what I'm going to be working towards. This is the general idea. So these are 1969 and 1968, or maybe 67 Stacey. Is it 68? I feel like she wasn't introduced until 68, but I could be mistaken. So 69 and 68-ish Stacey. This is the twist and turn with the flip hairdo, and then the straighter hair with the red bikini. So I'm going to be copying this face paint here, and I'm not going to root lashes into her. I'm just going to paint them on and sort of mimic what's there. Alright, so I've got my, let me swing this around this way. Oh, come on. Put that down so I'm not like crushing it. Okay. So I've got my station going here. I've got my cup of water. I've got the colors of paint that I think I'm going to need, and my little crusty palette. And I'm going to get in here and go on this. And is that, I'm not quite sure if the head is going to be in focus, so let me try to. And actually, the first thing that I'm going to do is, got these perm rods over here from when I was working on some other dolls, so I'm going to see if I can, here, stick that on there for a minute so I can work on that. Because what I'm going to do first is I'm going to paint her head the color that I'm going to make her hair, more or less. And then once that dries, I'm actually going to come back in and paint her face. So we'll just do this for a second. Get that hairline taken care of. So I don't really want to go beyond those first dots there. And it might actually take a couple of layers. You can see the general idea here. Just to get that a good covering. So I'm going to finish this part. And wait for her head to dry so it's not too sticky. Come on. So I'm just going to finish that and get it dried, and then I'll be back with some of the actual face painting. Alright, and we're back. So you can see I've been doing some color matching up in here. I got a little excited and got rolling away here. Got some eyeballs and the mouth going. Let's see how I'm working my way in here. There, okay, there, now it's focused. So I had a minor mishap and I had to get the what the hell is it called? I had to get the acetone out again, but luckily it wasn't too bad. So the hair space is still tacky. The face is going quite well. I'm enjoying how it's looking right now. And we'll be back when there's more interesting things going on, because I can't paint and watch the camera at the same time. It's just not going to work. So we have an intermediate view here. I'm just going to zoom in because I'm using acrylic paint and it will have a texture. You can probably see some of the texture there, but I'd rather have it be textured than be perfect. It gives that sort of human touch to it. Now this Malibu Barbie is very tan, so she's not going to have as much contrast between this same dark coral lip color, but I did get her cheeks pretty rosy, and I don't want to make the lips any darker because then it won't go with her outfit. So we're just going to deal with what we have here. And I did have to go a little darker in the eyeshadow to make up for that as well. So we will be back with her in a little bit. Alright, so I finished painting the face here. It's looking pretty awesome, even though this eyebrow over here was getting a little janky and upsetting me for a while. So I have goals here versus what it is. And I think it's working pretty good for me. I've got these winged eyes going here to mimic the rooted lashes, because I'm not rooting lashes here. And I decided on platinum eyebrows to go with the hair that I'm putting in her, since the tan would not show up on this very beachy Malibu skin here. So I'm gonna do a platinum Malibu Stacey combo thing here, and I am totally in love with this face paint here. I love it. It came out really good, and I'm gonna let this dry overnight before I start getting the doll hair and the wetness and the scissors and the needles all up in there. Alright, so I'm gonna put this lady to bed for the night, and we will be back with rerooting. Alright, so again, I have the AC on because it's hot and whatnot. So this dress has been airing out overnight after brushing it with soap and the toothbrush and spreading it out. It's flat again and doesn't have the little squeezed in waist bit from having it tied into the box. So I've got to sew the piece of the... Wow, this one's not corroded. Interesting. I've got to sew the little snap piece back onto the other side, and I've got to sew the lace back on here that goes up the back. I don't have any powder blue, and since this has silver in the threading, I have silver thread, so I'm going to use that instead. I don't think I want to bore people with the details of sewing. I need to find a little needle here. A teeny little needle somewhere in here in this pile of shit. Eventually, oh, here's one. I might actually buy another pack of needles just because it'll make my life easier. So I got a little needle here. I'm gonna... There. Silver thread isn't super sturdy, but I don't want to have contrasting colors because I really... What was the end of that? I really don't have anything that matches this icy powder blue color. And sometimes it's, in projects like this, it's using the 14 different colors of thread that I have and not not going out to a store for a 60-cent item that's not going to be seen that much. Alright, so I'm going to get this tidied up, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to start doing the reroot. I've got stuff set up. I used to have a big bucket to put water in, so I've emptied out the hair store items that I had stored in this thing. I'm going to fill that like partly with water, and then I'm going to start using this doll hair. So what I've got, I use I'm a patron slash client or customer, whatever. I go to restoredoll.com and I get their products. This is saran, so it's made out of, like when you buy plastic wrap at the store, that's what this is made out of. And have this white platinum color. Now usually when you do get an order, you get 2 packs. Since this doll is an older doll and doesn't have as many, her hairline isn't as dense as newer dolls, I might only need this 1 pack. I still am not sure what I'm going to do with her hairstyle, except that I know I want to do a little bit of hair fair situation and make some hair accessories. But in the meantime, I can cut this into thirds. If I wanted a doll with longer hair, I'd cut it in half. So once I finish sewing this, I'm going to come back and we're going to start this. Alright, so I'm back with this dress here. I've trimmed the threads that were sticking out of the sleeve holes, and I've got this sewed on here. It's a little bit uneven, but at least it's all together, and I've got this back on where it needs to go. So I'm just going to leave it on the body for now, because I'm going to pull her head off. I'm going to put this on the stand and just leave it over in the other area for a while, for the several hours to couple of days that it's going to take to reroot this head. What's the most? I feel like the dolls from the 90s have way more hair and their heads are a little bigger, so we'll pop her head back off here. Okay. We get this over in the other area for now. Alright. Ooh, that's really close. I'm liking that. So I'm cutting this skein of hair into thirds, and to measure, I've kind of popped it into this triangle shape. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it. Count the... Oh, why didn't I just cut it to begin with? That would have made more sense. Leave that out for now. I'm going to put the rest of it back in the bag. That guy over there. Okay. I need this to be flat. Is that in the... kind of in the frame. I don't need my own hair in there either. I'll drop this down just a little bit to make sure it's in there. And check the focus. Check the focus. Okay. So I want this to be... Where's my comb? Where did I put the comb? Oh. Ew, there's crap in here. Leave this old shit in my way. Okay. The mylar from when I was trying to recurl my son's Sensation Barbie's hair, and I have to redo it because it didn't hold very well. I think it's typical of that doll set. Okay. Let's Kyra hair out of the way. Okay. So I usually have a longer needle. This is the only one that I deem acceptable, so I'm just gonna have to yank it more with the pliers because I don't want to use this one's longer, I think. No, it's about the same. The longer needles that I have, like this one, are huge, and I don't want to break those delicate holes on her head. So I guess I'm stuck with this one till I buy more needles. Beggars can't be choosers. I got my bucket of water over here, and I'm just gonna try to get this flat. More or less. Crap, alright, it's already coming apart. Get this over here a little bit. Well, I'm gonna be pulling from that anyway. I'll turn this around though. Okay. Okay, so now I've got my pile. These tweezers suck, but I'm going to be using it to separate some of that out. And usually when I root the hair, I start at the back, and I go half, and I go all the way up. And I end with the part, and then I'll usually do the front the very last. Like if they have bangs or something. This one doesn't, so she should be fairly simple. This is actually the most basic rooting that I've ever rerooted, because the skippers had bangs, the 1964 skippers, so even though they had a simpler head like this, they did have a more complex thing going on up here. So this is actually going to be really easy. Let me get my segment here. Okay. So, okay. So I have a segment of hair. I don't need something darker to put it on. I have my segment of hair, and I'm going to dunk it in the water. And I get it nice and flat, and then I trim the end into a little angle so that I can, I don't know if it's going to show up at all. Trim it into a little angle so I can get it through the needle. Boom. Okay, so now that it's folded over, I'm just going to start. So I'll start at her ear. I'm going to get it through the hole. And aim it towards the opening, and then, so I don't ruin my fingers, I get to pull it through with the pliers. And while I've got it hold of it, I will tie a knot. Let's see if I can angle my hand so I can, oops. I need to get that back on the needle, so I dunked it, and I'm just going to clip it again so I can get it back in there. There we go. Alright. I'm actually going to move the camera because I'm not going to be able to do this without my hands in the way. Trying to figure out how I can do this in an effective manner. Hold on. I'll get there eventually. Hope nobody gets seasick. That's not how I wanted the camera to move. Hold on. Get down here. Okay, here we go. This is what I need. Okay. Please, hopefully I won't turn the frickin' camera off. Ow. So I've got it through the thread here, and I'm gonna make it into a knot while I've got it controlled by the needle. Oop. And I just push it out of the hole and move the needle out. There we go, knotted. And I'm gonna just trim it. And now I can pull it all the way through the hole. And because of the knot, it'll just stay right in there. Now, that could have had more hair in it, so I'm probably going to add another section, because she doesn't have that many holes in her head. So let me add another segment real quick. Sometimes I will put like fat chunks through a hole, but the fatter the amount of hair in the needle, the more tendency the knot will have to undo, and I don't want that to happen, so I'm gonna just go through that same hole again just for funsies. I've got one freaking hair that did not cut. Piece of shit. This is so weird doing this at a weird angle from behind the camera. I can't wait to turn the camera off. I'm gonna put that right through the same hole and get into a rhythm. It's pushing harder because it's got the other chunk of hair in it already. You can see where I got some red paint on there and tried to get it off with the acetone. I was like, yay, my hands are clean, and then I turned it around and I was like, what the fuck is that red paint on there? Alright, so let me get it untangled from the other knot here. No, don't you come out of there on me, you bastard. This is super fascinating on other people's videos when they just have like a music montage. I'm not that fancy at it because my camera is barely functional and I don't have autofocus or editing skills. Okay, so now I've got both of these through this same hole and it looks, there we go, that's what we want. A nice stream of platinum white coming right out of there. So I'm just going to do this like 100 more times and then I'll be done, and I'll probably pop on partway through just to show the progression. There's a little Santa Claus thing going here. Okay. And we'll be back later. Alright, so it's been a couple hours and I've got part of her head done here. You can see I did the back and the left half up to the crown here. Now normally on a doll, when they have the part in the hair, there'll be distinctly two rows of the holes. Because these are so close together, there's only one row of holes, so what I would normally do is I would root it and cross the pieces like a weave, like that, across the part, and it's really painstaking and it takes a lot longer, and I'd have to clip each piece with a barrette every time I did it. Now because this one doesn't have two holes, I'm just going to root it until these are full, and then I'll carefully separate them with a needle and brush them down, and then when I boil mold her hair, it'll flatten out that the top thing there. Now what's really frustrating for me right now is that this paint should have been dried. It was there for about 24 hours, and I don't know if it's the vinyl or the paint or the, god damn it, the humidity, but it's like little bits of it everywhere, and I'm going to have to possibly repaint part of her face and maybe get it off with the acetone, because I don't think I've ever had this problem before. It's gonna ruin the face paint because this white paint that's supposed to be dry on the crown of her head is spreading out all over everywhere. There's specks under here, there's specks in there, it's getting into here, so I might have to get some more acetone in there and then go back and do some touch-up painting, because it's turning into kind of a mess, and I've never had that happen before, and I'm kind of irritated about it. But, you know, if I have to do it like 6 times, there's also paint in her hair. It's fucking pissing me off. When I get part way through, I also get the brush wet and just kind of get the hair to stick together. If I have a lot of it, I'll find like a hair tie and clip it to keep it together. But there's some white speck there, and up here I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna think it's the humidity, but it could be the vinyl. So I'm just frustrated that the paint job that I was so excited about is kind of getting mangled by this. And maybe it's my fault for putting like 4 coats, but I wanted coverage, and it's still tacky, and there's like lint and stuff getting stuck to it. So I guess it's a warning if it's humid to let it dry longer. But anyway, I mean, it's nothing that can't be fixed. It's just frustrating because I had it where I wanted it. So it's just gonna work with the little issues that come up, and eventually it'll get done. But as you can see, this is going pretty quickly because she doesn't really have a lot of hair to begin with. It's like very high up here on her head. She has no sideburns, and it's like a fade or something. So it's been like 2 hours, and I already have her head almost half done. But my fingers are thoroughly tenderized from pushing the needle, so we're gonna give it a rest for the night. As you can see, I used quite a bit of that section that I had, so we'll come back and I'll get the rest of this done later. Alright, it's just that simple. Alright, so I've had it like maybe another hour or so, a couple hours into this, and as you can see, I've rooted this other side all the way up to the crown here, to the part in her hair. So now that I've gotten the rest of it done, I'm going to run that seam all the way up there, and then it'll be ready for me to actually come to a decision as to what I'm going to do to style it. Alright, so we'll come back after that, and after I fix this white speckling of the paint frickin' everywhere. Alright. Alright, right when I was about to literally push the on button for the camera, the neighbor decided to do some kind of electric machine type of outdoor work and interrupted what I was trying to do, so I had to wait. So I've got this hair rooted in. I got most of the little paint chips off of her face, and what I did is I took a needle. Oh, I'm not even in the fucking frame. Okay, so I got most of the paint chips off of her face, and I took a needle and very carefully split the center line of like big open holes down the center. And I did finally decide what I'm going to do with her hair. And I've got this extra little piece here that I put aside that's going to be her bangs. I have to set it and then boil mold that in. I just wanted to keep it separate for now. I'm just going to put that back up for a second. So I'm going to curl it around something and then pour dunk it in boiling water and then put it in ice water a couple of times and then let it dry, and then she should have like little bangs that are curled. I've cut the hair. It was all different lengths. It was all different lengths coming down like here, and I trimmed it flat while it was wet. Got one piece that's not cooperating. I pulled these little sections back, and they're just tied with thread to hold it. There's one little tiny... Ooh, I know how I'm going to fix this. There's like one hair that is not underneath the other hair. Let me fix that real quick. Yeah. There we go. Alright, now that's fixed. Okay. So this seam here on her head should be a little bit flatter after it gets boiling water. The seam should be a little bit flatter after it gets boiling water on it. And I made this. I was going to make it on camera, but I couldn't because there was a ton of noise. So I've got this braid. I had this antique pin that I found that's very similar to the little barrettes that they would have in the hair fair set that was made from 60... Well, the one with the braid was made in 67. and then they changed it to just a straight hairpiece for the rest of it. But instead of a pink ribbon, I have this sort of aqua colored thing. It's the closest to blue that I had, and I figured it would be appropriate, so I made a braid piece, and I'm gonna attach that there once I'm done. And then she'll be ready to put the dress on, and she'll be finished. I think I might actually paint her fingernails though too. Look at this, like silver fingernails maybe. I think that would be good. So I'm gonna just get this little curly Q boil molded and clip it off. And again, that's boiling water. Just to get like a little Pyrex measuring cup and throw water in the microwave for 3 minutes, and then get some ice cubes and put them in cold water, and you have your two little things. Dunk her in the hot water, dunk her in the cold water, and then I do it twice just to make sure, and then you gotta let it actually dry, which takes like overnight. So she's getting really close to being done. I'm excited about my little hair piece that I made out of one of the segments. I saved a piece out before I cut I had it in thirds, right? So instead of cutting it all the way, I left a longer piece, and I didn't need all of it for the braid. I was gonna make something else out of this, but I decided not to. I'm just gonna cut that in half because it's gonna bother me. Okay, so and we'll get that ready, and then once it's boiled, you'll see how it is. I'm just gonna use probably gonna use a coffee stir, or maybe wrap it around one of these things that's from a can of air. So I don't have little bitty curlers. The perm rods aren't going to be small enough for her bangs, so I'll just do it that way. So, I'm going to use the sewing scissors for this guy. Alright, so I'm going to get that, and what I do is when I have it, once I have it around something that I want it to curl on, I'm going to pin it to her head like I've got it loose pinned here. But I'm going to wrap it around here, pin the whole thing to her head, and then it's all going to go in the boiling water and then in the ice water a couple times. And then she will be good to go. Alright. And again, just a little view of what's going on back here. And again, with that center seam that I painstakingly pulled it in half. Oh, the stand came apart. I just painstakingly parted it with the needle that I had been using to get that in there with. Alright, I think I have that in focus. It's hard to tell because the thing is a square over her face. So let me move this up and down here, because my camera's too close. So I've got the gold shoes here. I've got her fingernails painted silver. And that little curl of bangs didn't come out how I wanted it to. And since it was a little bit of hair that I added separate from the original root entirely, I just cut it out and decided that she didn't really need the bang little curly Q hair to go with it. And I think it works out pretty well here. So I am going to zoom in on this and move it up and down a little bit to get a better view. But this is the Malibu Barbie repainted to be more like the Stacey that her head mold originated on. She's got the unusual platinum eyebrows to go with her now platinum hair. And I've just tucked this hair piece underneath the little strappy bit to tie the whole room together there. So it's, instead of looking too long for her hair, now it's like a cute little headband. I think you can tell in this light that it's slightly more turquoisey aqua than the light blue that this lace is. But I think it goes alright. I don't think the original hair fair pieces with the pink ribbon would have gone entirely with every outfit that was available at the time. And I think her hair might be a little bit longer than it's supposed to be, or than it would have been originally. It might have been like maybe only to here, but I actually like this length, and I think I'm gonna leave it. But I feel like the cut and the color of this suit is kind of reminiscent of the suit. It's a dress. The color and cut, at least on the neckline of this dress, is similar to the turquoise swimsuit that Malibu Barbie would have originally worn. So now I have this complete hybrid doll here. Let me hold the camera and see if I can pull it back off of the table to get the whole look here. Okay, there. Now it's the whole look. I think those gold shoes don't actually go that bad with it. I really like them, and they were a little brighter after I cleaned them. And it goes with the brassy color of the little clip thing, which I'm not going to change because it's similar to how those originally would have been. So I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit more and hopefully not turn the camera off by accident. Always with the pain in the ass of the focusing. Okay, here we go. I'm going to bring this up a little bit more. Okay, so here she is. Malibu Stacey, kind of. The tan skin. And this pseudo hair fair braid. It's just clipped to her head. And the simple yet effective hairstyle. This is cute. Where's the... Ugh. There, so I'll just hold this up again so you can see what I was going for here. There we go. Close enough. And I have another hybrid doll here. I have a bunch of dolls that I've customized that are in a hybrid state now. There, the currently silver fingernails there. Trying to get it to where it'll zoom in. These fingers are actually separated in the mold, which is really unusual, I think. These ones over here, not as much. I didn't paint her toenails because they're in these kind of marbled white gold shoes. Come on, hand, work with me here. Her feet are actually distinctly left and right, and the shoes are later, so they're not. So the left shoe looks a little wonky, but I'm not going to worry about it. So, it's my... I just have it clipped around the stand so that it doesn't put a crimp in the dress. Now that I've got it straightened out again. Alright, let me move this back down. Alright, so that took me... I mean, I had to let it sit for a little bit, but it basically took me like 2.5 days. And if I had to curl the hair, it would have taken longer. I would have had to style it longer. And if I were making the outfit, it would have taken a lot longer. If I were buying the outfit, I would have had to figure out what to get and possibly clean and or repair it. And again, I don't know where this dress came from. I think it's handmade. And I believe it's probably also about 50 years old. So, not too shabby. And I kind of like having my dolls in Mattel brand clothing, but not always. Sometimes I make random stuff or copy stuff, but this is similar enough to mod era Barbie outfits that I think it really works. And plus, like I said, I like that it's sort of reminiscent of the Malibu Barbie swimsuit while being completely different. So she gets to be rather glamorous here. I'm really into this, and it makes me excited to maybe work on my Francie. Although to redo my Francie, I need to buy supplies. I need to get fabric and like edging and little bitty buttons and the correct hair packets, and none of which I have. But I've got a couple other dolls that I'm working on. I have one that I was going to reroute black, but now I'm not sure that I want to. I'm going to have to check. I may or may not. We'll see. So if you want to continue to see more doll customizations like this or different ones, rerooting, repainting, redressing, any of those sorts of things, do subscribe to my channel. Go to my DeviantArt gallery and look at the doll customizations folder. Like, share, subscribe, and if you enjoyed this and you'd like to contribute to future videos, or just as and thank you, I enjoyed this, feel free to hit that tip jar. That's paypal.me/CATtheMinion. I also have Cash App and Venmo. And if you're interested in seeing any of my tarot readings, those are in my playlists as well, and you can order them. You can see all the different links to art I have. I have actual art in my catalog. And the PDF link and the links to other contact points and information, all of that's going to be in the description box of my infomercial video, which is going to be linked below this video. So I have a lot of psychedelic art. I have made-to-order pieces like this. I have chapbook packs, which are little bits of poetry and drawings. It's like a little gift pack. They're all randomized. If you're interested in the tarot side of things, it might be like an oracle reading. If you just want weird little bits of art and writing, you could get one of those too. I have coloring books. I do have a poetry book. Those are on Amazon, and the poetry book is also a Kindle version. Yeah, so I have the dolls. And the playlist for the dolls is Adventures with Plastic Crack, because they're addictive. Alright, so there we go. Here's me again. And feel free to comment and like and share and subscribe, and hopefully you'll come back and see what's going on here. When I do my case studies, you'll be able to see some of the other dolls that I've worked on, and then again also in that gallery in my DeviantArt folder, which should be linked in the description for the doll videos. You can see what other kind of weird little Frankensteining things that I've done to my collection, and hopefully you have as much fun, almost as much fun or more fun than I did. I'm really excited. I've been waiting to redo this doll for at least a year, if not 2, and I'm fairly pleased with the results. I kind of wish I had some bangs going on, but I like that her hair is really heading into a cross between the Stacey and the Malibu Barbie. But yes, I'm extremely satisfied, so I hope you enjoyed that, and we will see you later. Bye.